welcome back to another episode of the We Grow Together podcast. I'm Laura Difrancesco, your host. I am more than a 5-time founder and have multiple businesses of my own and a lot of amazing passions and projects going on in my life. So we had a great episode with Shelly. We can link in the show notes where I talked about my process of annual planning. And in that episode, we talked about how we do seasonal check-ins and quarterly check-ins. So I thought this would be a great time. We are well into Q1, approaching the end of Q1. So this is the time that I'm thinking about seasonal planning, seasonal check-ins, seasonal reflections. So whether you call them quarterly strategic planning or seasonal reflections in your life, they both really function the same way. I will say for me, I do a lot more of this work on an enterprise basis than I do on a personal basis. With that said, there's great ways to do both. The reason I spend so much more time on an enterprise basis is because I have a team of like 20 across 5 businesses, and getting everybody aligned with vision, direction, projects, priorities, all of that kind of stuff. It's a lot more work communicating it and making it into projects and getting everybody going and having monitor progress processes. And then on the other hand, when I'm doing my more personal seasonal reflections, to me, I almost change fluidly throughout the year, similarly to how the weather changes. So I will make seasonal changes in my life on a day-to-day, month-to-month, week-to-week basis in a way that feels good, so that it feels like I'm always gradually, naturally transitioning. So for me, it's more of a repetitive evolutionary process in my personal life, whereas for my business, it's really serious. Sit down, map it out, make it clear, communicate, manage, plan, all the things. I do think that there's a time and place for both of them. And hey, maybe your personal life, you want to do major revamps every single season. That's totally fine and up to you. For me, my annual life planning and constantly working and evolving it season by season really suits my nature. And then because I have so many team members and need to communicate priorities, projects, etc., we have a lot more formalized process for business. But you do you, boo. That is what it's all about. So we're going to be talking about quarterly reflections, specific things that I think about, how to check in with yourself, some practical tools that you can use. But before we get started, my question to you is, when did you last take a moment to pause and assess where you are? Goal setting is one thing, but actually taking a moment to reflect and assess where you are versus where you were going and where you said you'd be by now in a very non-judgmental, loving, compassionate way. How often do you do that? Is that something you do on a day-to-day basis, or is that something that you really need to start making a priority in your life? I'm curious. Let me know on my latest Instagram post. I would love to hear it. Follow me on social media at Laura M. Difrancesco, and we can also do a little poll there too. I want to know, how often do you reflect? So what's the process and what do we do for seasonal quarterly reflections? This is where we're really honest about, okay, I came up with my annual plan. I defined where I wanted to go and which projects and passions and life events were going to be the center of attention for various months and quarters and seasons in our lives and businesses. So realistically, where are we? How are we doing? Now, in my opinion, this is just like budgeting. You always aim high and are happy if you just land among the stars. Reach for the moon, land among the stars. That is the philosophy that I take into seasonal reflections. So I say we are going to have all these initiatives. We're going to publish this course by this date and this book by this date. And then guess what? It always takes more work than you think. It always takes more time than you think. And that's okay. So I personally like to be a wildly ambitious goal setter and planner, all the things. But when it comes to reflections, this is honest, but it is the no judgment zone, because literally I don't know anybody who could come up with my quarterly plans and get everything done and on time and everything like that. I actually think that if you are quote unquote behind in your own world, you're probably actually so far ahead of yourself, you don't even know it. That is my philosophy in life and how I approach seasonal reflections and goal setting in general. The number one question I'm asked is, how do I do all the things I do? So I put this into a course, a workbook, and a workshop where you can find all the little details about how I do this on a daily basis. And I've called it the Wild Ambition Lifestyle Design Course, Workbook, and Workshop. Transform your dreams into reality with guided vision setting, storyboarding, journaling, and all the tools I use to bring my dreams to life, with over 100 lessons, 200 plus pages of workbooks, and lifetime access so you can return to it whenever you need to. The course itself is that iterative process of how we continue to evolve over time to be the best version of ourselves. If you are an ambitious individual, if you want to make your dreams come true, I think you'll really love Wild Ambition, and I encourage you to check it out in the show notes. Start your journey today. Enroll now to dream and live with wild ambition. So goal setting is the beginning process. Seasonal reflections are breaking those goals into milestones and reorienting yourself, re-navigating and saying, this is what I need for this season, this upcoming season. It's time to take those big things that we have built up so much and actually make it into tangible steps, habits, the details. Life is lived in the details. It's lived in how you wake up, how you spend your day, how you spend your time, who you spend it with, what you invest in, how you invest in yourself. That is what these seasonal reflections are all about. So yes, we goal set once a year. In my business, I also set some goals too. In my personal life, yes, I have to-do lists, I have priorities, but I don't necessarily set seasonal. Do I? I guess I do. I guess I kind of do. I mean, at the beginning of every month, I do like little intentions. Let's say intentions. I like that so much better than goals. To me, goals are like these big things that I'm working towards. And when I'm thinking seasonally, I'm not thinking something I'm working towards. I'm thinking what I'm doing to work towards it. Intentionally, how am I spending my time, money, energy, resources to be where I want to be the person I want to be. That's, to me, how it's different. Goal setting's big, reflections, revisions are the details. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. I have Gantt charts, I have calendars, I have to-do lists, I have iPhone notes, however it makes the most sense for you. I do like something tangible. Now I do a lot online too with the Gantt charts, the iPhone notes, all of that stuff, but I really love something tangible, even if that's just once I figure it all out online, writing it down in my agenda, handwritten. At the beginning of every month, I do these intentions, and I like to also take a look at my season and say, what do I need for this season? And what changes do I need to make to be the person that I want to be, to get done the goals that I want to get done long term? Who do I need to be? How do I need to show up? How are we going to shape our way there? So that's my seasonal reflections. And then I take all of that information and I really start to think in terms of looking back. Okay, I wanted to be here, but I'm not. So now how does where I am in reality actually function with respect to where I wanted to be? Is it still a priority, or did the next quarter's priorities actually trump that and this just needs to be finished when it's finished? You have to be really intentional with your time, energy, resources, and constantly audit. Is this actually a priority? Is this actually going to move the needle, or is it just a waste of time? And maybe it wasn't finished because it wasn't meant to be finished. And maybe it wasn't finished because it's actually meant for not just a different season, but a whole different part of my life. And that's okay. A lot about reflection is letting go of prior expectations and desires and goals and just living with what is, and then taking what is and deciding how you're going to take that into where you want to be. All about this, like almost creating a design and artwork of your life. And then in addition to that, I'm thinking, what does this season of my life look like? We're going from winter into spring, right? So right now I'm thinking, what does this season of my life look like? Thank goodness it's dark out later. It's 5:18, and thank goodness there's still a tiny bit of light out. I'm thinking, okay, I can't wait. And I've heard people doing countdowns until the daylight saving times or whenever it is that basically it's light out until 7 p.m. Apparently we're not that far out from it. That I can't wait for. So I, in the winter, have totally different hours than I do in the summer of where I spend my time, whether I'm working or whether I am outside. In the winter, I try to spend all of my morning time outside if possible, because it's really hard for me to get home or get done work by 4 or 5 p.m. In the winter, I'm snuggled. I'm where I need to be at night. I am home. I'm comfy, cozy, and I'm just making the most of that hibernation phase. I know come spring, I'm going to want to be outdoors. I'm going to want to have evening activities. I'm going to want to have so much more activity on the weekend. I'm going to be expending more energy. Usually I'm in a recovery phase of life, so we'll see if that's the case this spring. But, normally this would be the time where I'm doing farm projects and cleaning up from the winter and gardening and planting things. And so I'm thinking of, how do I want to allocate my time, energy, resources? What changes do I want to make to my schedule? What changes do I want to make to my food? In the winter, I'm very much hunkered into pastas, soups, stews, all the comfy, cozy. In spring, I want the fresh salads. I want the fresh fruit. In summer, I want the smoothies. So how am I changing all of the different inputs in my life so that it actually adapts to where you are? And if you know that you have a really crazy spring, then how can you prepare yourself? Maybe you need to decide for this period of time that you actually are going to pull yourself back from other things, because you need to do a little sprint in your life and you want to allocate your time somewhere. So those periodic check-ins, which I like to do really frequently, but also really intentionally on a larger scale basis on a seasonal process, is really going to start to shape how you live each season differently and how you transition into each season differently, and enjoy the recovery and enjoy the planting the seeds and things blooming in spring and coming to life, and enjoy the height of summer and the passion and the fire and the heat, and then enjoy the fall of just letting go. Each season has its own purpose. I love that you can go through life, at least here on the East Coast in Westchester, through all 4 seasons. It makes me incredibly happy. And then when you're going through this process, wherever you're doing it, whether you're doing it with Gantt charts, whether you're doing it with your milestones or writing it down, I just like to get it all out there in the world, be realistic about where I am versus where I thought I'd be, what I need to change, what timelines I need to change, what priorities I need to shift around. The most important thing is that you are flexible throughout that entire process, because we make plans and then life laughs, and that's okay. It's not the point to follow the plan. The point is to have the plan so we know how to navigate all of the ups and downs and wild spins and turns in life that we go. So when I was talking about in our annual planning session about how you always have to reorient yourself, that's what this is. It's the reorientation throughout your life that you do on a day by day, month by month, and especially on a seasonal basis. And how do I decide between whether I need to extend a timeline or just push through? For me, it's all about prioritization. And so if I say, okay, this is my priority, then I have to be real of how much time a week I'm dedicating to that, how much I can realistically push for that, who I can incorporate into that, and then how that's going to work. If there is some sort of gating item blocking me, or I know I don't have enough time, energy, resources right now to allocate to it to realistically finish it by the time I do, then I just extend it. It's not the end of the world. The amount of things that people say that I get done in a year or month or season, people are astonished by that. But guess what? You should see all the things that I'm not getting done. That's astonishing to me. And I know that each person has their different levels of capacity, whether it be because of teams or priorities or anything else. That's totally fine. the most important thing is to not have any sort of self-judgment or issue around timing. It will all happen as it should. And I truly believe that from the bottom of my heart. So most of the time, I decide to adjust the timeline because for me, it's not worth most things losing sleep or anything like that unless it's something that I'm super passionate about, super excited about, super motivated, it has a high ROI, then I might push a little. But I'm very, very sparing in when I push versus when I extend. I almost always extend. But that's also, like I said, because I'm also crazy about getting big ideas out there and so much vision that no matter how productive I am, even if I was manning a ship of 100, I would still need more time to get all the things on my mind done. That's just endless flow right here. Now, with adaptation, if you are changing your timeline, if you're changing your expectations, how can you do that in a way that's flexible but still aligned? That to me is really where prioritization comes into play. And prioritization is from a lot of different standpoints. It's from what's most important on your heart. It's from monetarily what you need to do to get the ROI you need to be able to continue tomorrow, focusing on things you're passionate about. So to me, it's a balance of all of those things of what's weighing on my heart to do, what do I have the resources to do, what do I have the time to do, and realistically, what do I actually need to get done to hit certain milestones, even if it's not my favorite. It's easy to work on the passion projects. It's easy to push off the things that don't need to be done today. But how much better would you be if it was done? And how much better would you feel if it was done too? The analogy I like to use, what are glass balls that you're juggling with and which are rubber, which can bounce back because they get deferred and which can't. That's prioritization and how I sort of decide flexibly, but still in a very ambitious way, how I'm going to reorient myself in this season. One of my favorite places on earth is Ethereal Farms in the rolling hills and draping forests of Chester County wine country. It's right next door to our sister farm, Wayvine Winery and Vineyard, so guests of our luxury accommodations can enjoy wine visits, enjoy live music and food trucks at the winery. Our luxury accommodations and tranquil landscapes provide the perfect escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. There's also access to over 1,000 acres of hiking. Enjoy serene walks among meadows, cozy nights by the fire making s'mores, and unforgettable moments with our friendly farm animals. Everything from horses to goats, mini donkeys, which are the absolute cutest, ducks, chickens, turkeys, we've got it all. So if you're looking for a getaway with your friends, family, significant other, be sure to check out Ethereal Farms. Follow us on social media at Ethereal Farms to get all the cute farm content, and be sure to book your stay so you can enjoy a little bit of the magic here in Chester County. Adaptation, everyday adaptation, I think is one of the strongest skills that you can have, as well as self-reflection. So this is like your biggest thing in the world. Now, some people, especially in business, like to do things like SWOT analysis or a lot of numbers behind this. There's a time and place for everything. I think there's businesses with more data, but for a lot of small businesses, data is expensive. From a time perspective, from a reporting perspective, from an operations perspective, it's hard to collect. So yes, from a data perspective, you can reorient yourself. As a small business owner, I know what's painful to me in my business. I know what's not working in my business. I know what I need to fix now, what I need to fix tomorrow, what I need to fix next year and next month. I know what's a big priority and what's not a big priority. To me, it's pretty easy. If you haven't heard of this, there is the wheel of business, and there's like 7 or 8 things on this wheel, and you need everything functioning at an even level to be able to be successful. So if you have incredible sales, but you don't have good operations, your business will not succeed because your customer experience will not keep up with the expectation that you're putting out there. So even things that seem like they're good, you have to be balanced. So to me, it's super easy to think about like, okay, well, how are we doing on this? What's my greatest struggle in business? What's the greatest friction? What do I need to fix now? What's an improvement that solves an issue later? What has the ROI? So on all of these ideas, I'm thinking of those ideas. Okay, we've got our goals. How are we going to get to our goals? What are the next steps, the tangible steps that we're taking to get to those goals? Breaking those down into milestones and things that we can actively do, not ideas of what we can achieve, but things that we're doing. And so when I'm thinking of those, I'm constantly analyzing it through all of those lenses to figure out what my priorities are. And then from a personal standpoint too, I would love to make beautiful dresses all day and art and books and everything like that. But realistically, I only have so much time when I really care about my businesses, my partner, my family, my farm, so many things. So knowing that I have this much time and energy, what can I do to actually get to what I need to? And what do you realistically actually need to get done? I'm making a wedding gown for my wedding, which I'm really excited about. It's not easy, but guess what? It's going to feel incredible when it's done. It's way more than halfway done. And my wedding's in May. So, great time for it to be a seasonal project to get it done. In terms of things like super analytical, like SWOT analysis, my team asked me about that. I do a SWOT analysis on a bigger SWOT analysis, like an actual look at competitors, do a market analysis, your 15 to 20 page, actually usually do like a 50-page competitive analysis every other year. And then I do minor updates like pricing comparisons or things like that on an annual basis. So for me, I'm not really looking externally at these seasonal reflections. I'm looking internally. This is my time to reorient and to decide what I'm doing this season, who I'm being this season, what my intention is for this season. I would love to know, what are your seasonal reflections? What tools do you use? These are just a few things I use as I'm thinking about moving from season to season when we have snow versus beautiful 50-degree weather, one day to another. Remember, the transition from one thing to another can be shocking, can change, can be challenging. That's okay. The most important thing is that you take time to reflect, refine, and continue to pursue what's on your heart to do in the world. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It would mean the absolute world to me if you left us a 5-star review on your favorite platform, subscribed, share with your friends, tag on social media at Flourish Westchester, at Laura M. Difrancesco. I hope to see you in the next episode. See you there. Cheers.